why BestAgent, the property site, lists 100% of all publicly available homes for sale and to let without having obtained the express permission of the estate agents listing those properties. In a nutshell, the process of having to obtain permission, which by the way isn't legally required, I'll come on to that in a minute, would effectively render it dead in the water, and therefore any chance of creating an alternative future which doesn't rely on Rightmove and doesn't rely on lead gen companies, any chance of creating an alternative and better, fairer future for honest and high quality agents is just dead in the water. And if you don't believe me, look at every single portal that's ever tried to launch since Rightmove. Why did On the Market not get traction? Didn't have enough properties. Why did Zoopla end up, when it was the contender to really challenge Rightmove, why did Zoopla end up losing out? Because it lost 25% of its listings to On the Market. And that was the biggest own goal in estate agency history, On the Market. And any property site that aims to bring movers and agents together must, above all else, if it wants to end up making a difference and not just being yet another pointless portal, it must have at least more properties than Rightmove, and at best all properties on it, because that's the only reason that the public will come to it. Right? It's the only reason the public will come to it. They don't care about any other features. Do you have the most homes available for sale to let? Yes or no? If yes, great. Now, luckily, the same rules that apply to search engines apply in this case, which is that if it's publicly available data and copyright's not being exploited, then you are entitled to list these properties. And we don't derive any monetary benefit from these properties being listed unless you, the agent who owns the listing, actually decides to buy a lead from us. So it's not like we're making sort of wild, unfair profits on the back of your listings. We're just not. We're trying to set up something that is not controlled by large corporate and shareholder interests. And remember that Rightmove is controlled by American hedge funds. Zoopla is owned by an American hedge fund, neither of whom give a tuppenny what's it about your estate agency business. They just don't care. They just don't care. The owners of the portals do not care. And OTM, which it started off with the potential to make a difference, has sadly, very sadly, because I actually thought it had a chance before the one other portal shoot yourself in the foot rule came along, is now just sort of jack of all trades, master of none. It's just trying to be a bit of everything to everyone. It's just trying to salvage a future for itself. It hasn't yet. It's no one any longer expects it to be a competitor to Rightmove or Zoopla. So the two reasons why there's no point in asking agents for permission. It doesn't mean that I don't respect that they are your listings. I do. And you'll see with how we handle stuff in future, you'll see that we do massively respect you, even though it doesn't look like it because we're listing your listings without having asked you first. But do you know how long it would take and how much money it would cost to go around every single individual agent in the UK and ask them that? If you've ever tried to get hold of an agent, even as a customer, it's hard to get hold of an agent, right? It's impossibly difficult to get hold of agents, number one. And number two, when you do, you can't get a decision either way for age. You have to go back and chase and chase and chase and chase and chase. I spent 20 years doing that. And then number three, if you're saying, can we list your properties, yes or no, and anyone says no, well, that's it. It's game over. The whole project's dead in the water because we haven't got more properties than Rightmove. So, yes, we've had a few angry agents who've rattled the sabre and threatened legal action until I've pointed out that it's not actually illegal if they do their homework, because we are not exploiting copyright. We are using public data. We're not monetizing your photographs. Okay, that would be photography copyright. If we were selling your photographs and making money from your photographs, then that would be different. We're not. We're indexing your properties just like a search engine does, right? How many of you insisted on the search engines? How many of you have complained to Google and Bing and said, you didn't ask to list my web on your, you could come up. You just didn't, did you? It's the same thing. So please don't take it as a sign of a lack of respect for the time and effort and money involved in getting those listings. It's not. It is the only route, as per Globrix in the early 2000s, it's the only route to a site that has any chance of changing the status quo. Now, if you're an agent that thinks that we should keep the status quo, keep Rightmove and Zoopla in the number 1 and 2 position, and you're happy that that's the way it should be and never change, well, let's agree to disagree that that's what's best for the industry. And you're free to ignore whatever leads come your way from BestAgent, and it won't cost you anything. But hopefully you'll have an open mind. You'll sit back and wait and see and go, well, hang on a second, there's certainly no harm being caused by this. And potentially there might be a benefit to it. I just urge you to please have an open mind about what we're doing and why. And if you want to know why, ask the questions. Ask me in the comments below this video. Ask me on Twitter. It's BestAgent Boss on Twitter. And my final thought on this is that I genuinely find it ironic that agents want to go out of their way, that those agents who have threatened legal action, that kind of stuff, no one's actually taken any, but there have been lots of threats, that you go out of your way and spend time and money trying to stop us listing your properties when you're paying Rightmove and Zoopla to list and being rinsed by them. It's funny. So, are you happy paying? No, this is a site where all of your properties will be listed without you having the hassle of a data feed, and they're listed at no cost to you. You'd rather pay, would you? Okay, all the best. Anyway, guys, sincerely, please ask constructive questions. Do not take it as a sign of disrespect. I promise you, I have more respect for what agents do, and I'm a bigger public champion of what agents do than anybody else. I'm arguably making more of an impact on changing the public's perception about the importance of good estate agency than any of the organisations are, based on the traffic volumes on Moving Home with Charlie. So I hope that answers the question. I hope you see that we're not just cashing in on your listings without any benefit to you. We're not. I hope you see that the reason behind this is to actually have the outside chance of a better future for movers and agents.